Hi everyone, I'm Tanaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of January 31st. This week brings the start of a new month, and a new month always gives us a little bit of a new vibration. But before I go into the energy for this week ahead, I just think it's important to take a pause for a minute and to look back from where we have come. So last week we had the Leo full moon. It was at the end of last week and it was definitely an intense full moon. There was a lot of energy around it. Now maybe you were able to channel this, a lot of energy into a place of strength, into a place of courage and leadership, and you were able to channel that strong energy. Or maybe you were feeling a little bit all over the place. Maybe it was a bit overwhelming and you're feeling a little run down. Whichever it was, just take a minute to connect within and to see where you're at. Whenever we have a lot of energy, there's usually a lot of distraction in our outside world, or a lot going on in our outside world. But it's worthwhile to just take a few moments to pause. Maybe put your hands on your heart. I always find that helps me to just kind of connect within, check in, listen to what your inner self, what your inner child is communicating with you. So just a little reminder to do that. Maybe after this video, pause just for a moment, place your hands right over your heart center and just check in with how you are feeling and what your inner self is trying to communicate to you. And if anything comes up, just sit with it. You don't have to, fix it, or, just be at peace and with it, bring acceptance to it and just listen. So just a little reminder there as we head into this week. February is definitely probably one of the more intense months of the year. There is just a lot going on this month. So what makes it intense? So it's really based on the activity of the planets and their alignments with each other. How many alignments are happening, and also how rare these alignments are. And February just brings a lot of cosmic chatter and a lot of rare alignments. And it just seems like it's setting us up, it's gearing us up for not just, the energies of the present, but really energies that will guide us through the whole year. So it seems like a very important kind of setting the stage month that we have for February. So let's take a look at this week. The energies that we have happening this week kind of trickle through the rest of the month, but we'll feel them pretty strongly as we kick off February as well. So one of the major focuses for this month and this week is the Aquarius Stellium. So what is that? A stellium is basically an alignment of 4 or more planets in one zodiac sign. So this month we have 4 planets all lined up in the sign of Aquarius. We also have the sun in Aquarius, technically not a planet, but that's a lot of concentrated energy in one zodiac. So that will be Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and the sun, all lined up in Aquarius as we move through this week. And actually this configuration sort of stays in place all the way till the mid of February. We have this strong Aquarian energy. So when we have a cluster of planets all coming together in one area of the sign of the sky, it is called a stellium, and it indicates concentrated energy. It acts as a amplifier of energy. So if we imagine our night sky, we see a cluster of planets all in the same spot, although caveat, like we're not actually going to be able to see these planets just because of their location. But if we imagine this little alignment of planets all in the one area of the sky, it kind of is mirrored within us because we are the universe. It's mirrored within us as something coming into our focus, one area of our life coming into focus. Everything is centered around this one area. Now, of course, that one area will just depend on you, your own life, what's going on, but you may start to notice one area becoming highlighted, or your attention being drawn into one area, your focus being led to one area of your life. Something might stand out for you that just really is pulling your attention and focus. Stellium energy is really powerful. And when we're sort of getting used to it, it can sometimes feel a little overwhelming. Sort of the feeling that I get when I kind of tune into it is feeling like we're a little bit underwater, that, that underwater kind of feeling. However, once we get used to the energies, once we can sort of harmonize and bring acceptance and balance and all that good stuff to whatever is pulling our focus, it actually helps us to swim faster with little effort. So if you imagine this, idea of water, we maybe feel like there's we're drowning, we're struggling, but eventually we get our groove and we're able to swim faster and further with less effort. The image that I got was kind of also walking through and to put it another way, walking through like a foggy forest, and we don't really know where we're going to end up or if we're even going the right way. But once the fog lifts, we see, oh, I've actually just arrived at my destination. I didn't realize it was really foggy. I didn't know where I was going, but boom, here I am. So that's sort of the energy that is attached to this stellium. It feels like it could be a little foggy, it could feel a little cluttered, even overwhelming, but eventually we'll get our groove with it and we'll start to be able to move forward with a greater ease and, really channel that focus in a productive, positive way. So if you feel like you've got that strong, focus energy or something is drawing your attention, see if you can sort of create a way to, create a positive experience around that by channeling your energy in a productive, thoughtful way. So that's on a personal level. On a global level, this stellium configuration, which like I mentioned, is kind of running for most of the month. Obviously, the sun will move into Pisces eventually at some point in February. But for the first sort of 2 weeks, especially while the sun is there, the moon will also join in next week as well. So while this energy is strong, through these next couple of weeks, we may see our attention shift on a global level as well. Now, I don't see clearly what that might be, but it could be something captures our attention on a global level. So obviously we've been dealing with the global pandemic, so it could just be something related to that pulls our attention, not necessarily in a new direction, but maybe in a little slightly different direction, or maybe deeper into some understanding, or or it could also be something completely different, something completely new. There's some change, there's some shift, and that captures our attention. We could see that as well happening maybe through all of February, but most likely in the next couple of weeks. Something shifting our attention, drawing our focus on a global level. So that is the Aquarius stellium energy. There is one other energy that we'll be working with this week, and that is Venus energy. There's a little bit of Venus energy going on this week. We are currently in a Mercury retrograde as well, if you're wondering what is that. Mercury retrograde happens a couple of times a year, and basically it is when it appears Mercury is moving backwards. Now, of course, Mercury does not move backwards. It just looks that way from our vantage point here on Earth, and that is what we call a Mercury retrograde. When Mercury is moving retrograde, so Mercury is the messenger of the gods, and when it moves retrograde, the ancients used to say it was traveling through the underworld. So this is sort of a time where we can connect with our inner self, the underworld of our subconscious, of our mind, and bring things up into the light. We can gain more clarity, gain higher understanding and higher awareness. I know it gets a little bit of a bad reputation, but it's actually a power time when we understand that whatever's coming up is giving us clues into our subconscious, into the deeper depths of our mind. And this idea of Mercury being the messenger of the gods, if we think of that in a different way, it really is just like the messenger of our higher self, the messenger of our own inner knowing. So that energy is all extremely strong as we move through this Mercury retrograde period. However, this week in particular, because of some alignments with Venus and also the planet Uranus, which you might have heard me mention is the planet of surprise and awakening, and then add that energy with this Mercury retrograde, we may notice some past heart wounds coming up. We may notice old relationships or issues in relationships coming to the surface. We may feel challenged in matters of the heart, or blockages around our heart may become clearer or more apparent to us. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're feeling that this week, know you're not alone. It's a great time to tune in and listen to those words of wisdom from the heart and see if you can practice things like compassion, kindness towards yourself, kindness and compassion towards others. It's also a really powerful time for forgiveness work and for clearing resentments. And to help you with this, I have a guided meditation. I will pop a link below for that if you feel you need some support. However, just really paying attention to your own heart energy field, connecting, tuning in with your heart, that little exercise I gave you at the start, working with, heart-centered crystals, journaling, communicating, talking it through, maybe going to see a therapist if you're having troubles in your relationship and you just want to understand yourself better. All of that is, really helpful, especially under this energy. So just something to keep in mind. I do recommend whatever is coming up for you this week and into next week as well around the heart and relationships. I really encourage you to write it down. Just anything that's coming up, even if nothing specific is coming up, just write down what you are thinking and feeling around matters of the heart. The reason for this is that later on in this year, come December, Venus is going to go retrograde. And at this time, whatever's happening now is likely to give you clues as to what that Venus retrograde is about for you at the end of the year. So if you write things down now, even if it doesn't make sense to you, once you get to December, once you get into the first part of next year, you'll have it as a reference to look back on and to see the journey that you've traveled and to make a deeper sense of whatever that Venus retrograde energy is bringing your way. So Venus retrograde happens in December, runs through January of next year. Write down now what is going on for you, because that will serve as a clue, as some inspiration as to what might come up for you at the end of the year. So you have a couple of little homework exercises for this week. But really overall, February is a power month for clearing our heart wounds, for shifting our focus and making it, channeling our focus in a positive direction. This stellium energy, you are in control of it. Where do you want to put your focus? Where do you want to channel this energy into? Think about that, set your intention, and know that you're being guided to, swim faster and reach your destination, even if it feels a little foggy to begin with. Okay, I hope that's helpful. I am Tanaz from foreverconscious.com. Thank you so much.